That's the soul speaking and saying, don't put me in a box. Don't compartmentalize me. Don't tell me what I have to be. Don't do that to me. The theme song of the soul was sung by Roy Rogers and Bing Crosby. Oh, give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Let me ride through the wide open spaces that I love. Don't fence me in. Don't put a fence around me. There's something inside of me that is infinite. It wants to expand. If it's finite, that means it stops someplace. The part of you that's listening to this right now, what is that? What is that invisibleness within you? Certainly you're not this body. It's just dust. Getting that and understanding that. You know, not only did I write this entire book, 58 chapters, with each one having a section called I Can See Clearly Now, why I was being divinely guided to do this. I was driving down the Long Island Expressway in 1976, and I was living out in Huntington and teaching at St. John's University. I was a professor there, and I was about to be granted tenure, which scared the hell out of me because it means like you're going to be here the rest of your life. You know, you're not going to go anywhere else now that you got a job for life. That was something that inside I just couldn't handle. And I had just written this book, Your Erroneous Zones, and something just came over me. Honestly, it just came over me, and I pulled off on the Long Island Express. I just sat there. I was like, trying to catch my breath, and I realized, oh my God, if I go in there and get tenure, I'm going to be stuck here. This is where I'm going to be. I've already done this. I've been doing it for 6 years. And I got off back onto the Long Island Expressway, which is L-I-E, lie. And I didn't want to live that lie. And I went into the dean's office, Sarah Fassenmeyer, and I said, Dr. Fassenmeyer, I'm sorry. I said, but I don't want tenure. I'm resigning. This is my last semester. I'm going to take Your Erroneous Zones out across the country and talk about it myself. And it was a moment. It was like, I call them quantum moments, divine guidance. See, these are rungs on the ladder. The rungs on the ladder are things like willingness and so on. And so many of those things have taken place in my life. And they're taking place in your lives all the time. If I were to sit down and interview any of you and just ask you to pull out of, what is it that made you feel good and what did you do about it? Were you meant to be a great artist and didn't pick up the brush? Were you meant to be a great writer and didn't sit down and do it? Are you fulfilling somebody else's idea of what your life ought to be? Because I can remember doing those kind of, taking those. There's like, what are you willing to do? How determined are you to make it happen? How much fear do you have inside of you? Because fear isn't just, oh, I'm afraid to die. Fear is like these little tiny things that we do to ourselves all day long. Like, why do you drive the speed limit? Do you drive the speed limit because you're afraid you're going to get a ticket, or do you drive it because it's the safe thing to do and because you love the people on there and you want to be safe? I mean, fear is like all over the place. Are you afraid of failing? Are you afraid of disappointing somebody? Is this not going to look good on me? Am I too fat? It's like fear. And it's like these tiny little things and endless numbers of these, and they begin to coagulate, and then they become bigger and bigger, and they make us they make us automatons. They don't allow us to fulfill our destiny. And you won't get to a place where you can start to see really clearly now that being fearless is a very important part of it. Not only, ladies and gentlemen, did I write this other book and have it and do a public television special on it, and spent 5 months, morning, noon, and night, and my kids will tell you they couldn't get me away from it. It was just such a calling. It was like I had to do it. Because, this thing that I wrote out this morning, if there is intelligence behind life, and there's every reason to believe that there is, and must be, then all of that intelligence is innate in every creation of that intelligence. How could it not be? If you came from that, it must be within you. And all you've done is taken on an ego, which means you've edged God out, ego, and taken on this ego, which is a false idea that who you are is what you do and what you accomplish and what other people think about you, and your separation from it if you let go of that ego. Not only did I write that book, which isn't even published yet. It's published in Australia, because I was down there and we brought it out a little early in a paperback down there, but it'll be out in a few months. I'm already writing another book. It's so weird, this calling. What I'm saying is you've got to listen and be fearless. And not listen to anybody else's voices. You've got to listen to that still, quiet, passive voice within you that says, this is what makes you feel good. This is what's right. You've got to take the chance.